Wake up.
Right here.
The Mike Brown Morning Show.
Wake up, baby, won't you wake up? Hit it in the morning.
Heard weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Right here on the Urban Uplift.
Welcome back to the new way to start your day. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show. Heard here on the Urban Uplift. As promised today, we have a very influential guest, a lifelong friend, a childhood friend. And we'll get all into her accomplishments once we start the interview here. But welcome to the Mike Brown Morning Show, Rebekah Coleman.
Hi, thank
Hello.
you.
We're happy to have you here, and we don't take it lightly that you decided to come on our show. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the invite.
Thanks. So, I'm really hyped about this interview for a lot of different reasons. One reason is because you're a Detroiter. You grew up in Detroit, and Detroit gets a lot of blight, right?
Yes.
So I just want you to talk about what that experience was for you growing up in Detroit.
Well, growing up in Detroit, I mean, that was all I knew. So I heard on the outside, you know, when I would leave out of Detroit, it's a bunch of rape, murder, and crime. But in real life, no, that's in different areas around the city, just like other cities. So it wasn't like, that wasn't my experience at all. I came from a family of educated people. My mother was an educator as well as a lawyer. My father was a judge, pastor. So I always had a different type of experience. I grew up around positive people. I grew up in a neighborhood knowing everyone, playing outside, when life was really about community.
Yeah.
So that was my experience in Detroit.
Mine too. So I just wanted to share with the world that Detroit is not this bad place that people try to paint it to be.
Right.
Even before gentrification, it was a good place.
Yeah.
So you mentioned family. So speaking of family, your father is Judge
Donald Coleman, yes,
okay.
of the 36th District Court in Detroit. He's been a judge since 1992, so that was pretty much all of my life.
Yeah.
I was in second grade, I believe, at the time.
Yeah. I actually remember seeing the billboard of your dad. I think it was on Connor, because we lived off Jefferson and Dickerson.
Okay.
And to go to church, we had to go down Connor or down Chalmers. And every day almost, that's how much we went to church. But every day I saw your dad on that flyer, on that poster. So with your dad, and your mom was an attorney as well.
Correct.
So the judicial system or that's just a part of you. Did you always know that's?
Well, initially, yes. And then by the time I got to college, I was going to be a movie star. So
Really?
I actually went and got a degree in theater.
Okay.
So, but I think around maybe my junior year towards the end, I was like, I don't think that I really want to go and struggle and continuously struggle at a dream that might not happen. So I said, you know what? I think I want to go back to law, and that is my theater. The courtroom is my theater. So
that's a good way to look at it.
That's how I use my theatrical background.
Okay. So I want to get into that, but I need to go back here. I didn't know that you majored in theater.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yes, at Michigan State.
So you can act?
I can act at times, but design and the creative part of it was more so my study.
Okay. Sweet.
Yep.
Okay. So you went to Cass Technical High School.
Yes.
Okay. And that was I guess the best.
Well, they say there are two types of
see
people
my
in
air
the
quotes?
world. Those who went to Cass and those who wanted to go to Cass. So.
Oh, wow. I don't fit in either category on that one. But Cass was a great school, and it's a great school,
Yes.
and so you catapulted into Michigan State University. Then, so what did you do after your undergrad?
I went on to law school at Wayne State University.
Okay.
And so I practiced for a couple years, and then I went to the University of Detroit Mercy and got a master's in business administration.
Okay. Now, a lot of times, well, in my experience, if someone's a lawyer, they're kind of they good. They're going to practice law. That's what they're going to do. What prompted you to go and get a master's in business?
Well, I always wanted to do the JD MBA program, but law school is a whole lot of work, and so I'm not quite sure how people are able to navigate through both programs. So it was always in my picture of how I wanted to do things. It was just I took a couple years in between.
Okay, cool. So can you? This show is for everybody, right?
Yes.
So I want to answer questions that people may not know. Can you explain what the JD is? It stands for Juris
Doctorate.
Okay,
yes.
Can you explain that?
It's just the law degree. So it's a doctorate of laws, but that's just the name of it. It's a law degree. It's not anything too deep.
Okay. So then I could actually call you Dr. Coleman.
You could.
And that would be okay.
Yes, it's okay. It's not common, but technically I do have a doctorate degree.
Okay. That's pretty sweet. So you got an undergrad in theater.
Yes.
Then you are a lawyer, and you have a master's in business. That's sweet. So, I guess the question that I want to ask now is, well, you answered it already, because I was going to ask you, did you always know? But you're telling me that you were going to be a movie star.
Yes.
Then the law thing kind of came, and you decided that the courtroom will now be your theater. Okay.
Yes.
So how has that worked out so far? Have you been in a moment where you say, "Wow, like I'm actually," I mean, I know you take it serious.
Yes.
But do you say like I'm actually transforming into a person that's taking on a role to accomplish a certain thing?
Well, I'm a trial attorney.
Okay.
So in the courtroom, you're evaluating how you're presenting things to everyone in here. And so I'm evaluating the judge's role, the jury's role, the witnesses, whether they're mine or the prosecution, my client, the prosecutor. And so just like a television show, we're all kind of playing off of each other. And so that's kind of what I mean by the courtroom is my theater. I'm not really playing a role other than, being an attorney, but I have to constantly read people to kind of know what direction I want to go in next, because things constantly change. In a trial, for instance, I don't know what the other side's witnesses are going to say all the time. And so I have to constantly be able to shift and go with what I'm hearing to properly advocate for my client.
Okay. So, and I'm not trying to take the seriousness away from what it is, but it's kind of like, it's like improv. It's like you don't know what's going to happen, but you always got to be ready.
Right.
No matter what.
Yeah. And I mean, not complete improv, but there are sometimes some curveballs that come in. You may think that certain evidence is going to come out and something completely different comes out. And so you have to be prepared for that.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So what advice would you give to a young lady that's in high school, that's getting ready to go to college, and they got movie star ambitions? What would you say to that young lady?
Go after it. Just because I decided to go down a different road, that was just because I don't think that I was passionate enough to go to all the auditions and just constantly try. Whereas the law, I am passionate about it. It is something that I really enjoy. I really love it. So if a young lady wants to do that, I will say keep your options open, because I bounced around in majors a few times just to kind of see what I really like. Don't be set like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is it, and that's it only. So just stay open.
Okay. If you would have gone to DSA, it probably would have went a whole different way. But I guess.
But I had greater ambitions.
For those that don't know, DSA is the best high school in the city of Detroit. Cass Tech falls somewhere in there, and DSA stands for the Detroit High School for the Fine and Performing Arts. Shameless plug. I'm sorry. So now, what would you say to the young lady that has law ambitions, or not just young ladies, but just young people in general? Like, how do you prepare yourself for that type of outcome or that type of career?
Well, I just say, like I said, for the people that want to do theater, just be open. Even once you go to law school, don't just be set on, hey, I want to be a criminal lawyer. I want to be a civil lawyer. Be open to it. I've tried law in several different areas throughout my practice, and then I kind of honed in on the things that I like the best. So I always say, for everything, any type of career, just be open-minded, because you never know. Your interest may change to something that you never thought that you would have enjoyed. So
cool. Good. Sweet. Now, can we talk about the current administration? Can we do that? Is that okay?
Yeah. This is Mike Brown show.
Okay. So, Donald Trump.
Yes.
How do you feel his administration has led us through these past 4 years?
It hasn't led us, really. It's a bad example of leadership. Okay. You know, I don't think that he takes the role serious. He has a set agenda on it that changes. I guess it's not really set, because it seems to constantly change on how he feels day to day. So I think that it's a bad representation of what the United States of America was founded on and what it could be. I think he's constantly taking us back, which is not good.
Not at all. I agree. And in that moment, you kind of reminded me of Angela Rye a little bit. Have you ever heard her go on one of those, like, I don't want to call it rants because it's very relevant, but like, have you ever heard her talk about Donald Trump?
No.
Oh, it's a must do.
Okay.
You should YouTube Angela Rye. Just put in Angela Rye and Donald Trump.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's going to be a great night. I promise you. So, with the upcoming election, so we just saw that Joe Biden picked, and I don't want to say her name wrong, so I'm just going to say Senator Harris.
Yes. As
his running mate. What do you think about that?
I think that that's a monumental event. Okay. You know, I've been seeing a lot of negative feedback, and I think that we're missing the common goal. The common goal is the change that's necessary for the next 4 years in the United States. You know, just because I hear a lot of, she locked up a lot of black men, you know, she was a prosecutor. Prosecutors do their job. They prosecute crime. Now, if we want to talk about the criminal justice and the disparity, the disparate of treatment to African Americans, that's something totally different. But, you know, I think that sometimes we're getting lost in the goal of what we're trying to accomplish. But I do think that is it has greatness behind it. You know, it's giving the young black girl the opportunity to see, hey, I can be vice president, I can be president. You know, President Barack Obama opened that up for black people, and so now we're just getting it extended a little bit more. I think that is amazing. But, you know, people will find a negative spin to put on just about anything. That's true. So while we're there, we know that we need to vote. We know absolutely it's important. But and I wanted to say this till later, I still will. You're running for judge. Yes. So, and people have to vote in order for you to become judge. Yes. But bigger than that, just as it relates to, so when we vote for president, we don't just vote for president. It's a long list of things on local level, state level, all the way up to the presidency. Correct. So for that person that has mixed emotions about the presidency, I don't want to vote for Trump, I don't want to vote for Biden. Can you explain to that person why it's still important, why it's still a necessity to go out and vote? Well, because it's a vitally important right anyway. And I'll go in the sense of women and African Americans were the last people to actually get the right. So to me, that's reason enough to go and exercise your right to vote. In our parents' lifetime, African Americans didn't have that right. Mm-hmm. And so that to me, like I said, is enough. Not voting is pretty much saying that we're okay with the current administration as it is. Because to me, no vote is a vote for the current president, regardless if people say they feel otherwise or not. Every vote does count. It's I can't say it any better than that. And in our local elections, that's affecting our communities. So a lot of times you have to flip ballots over and people don't go on the back. But our local elections, those are the people that we can see and touch and be in a room with daily. You know, like I said, I grew up with the judge. I didn't grow up with the president. And so that kind of puts it in perspective for me. I know city council people. I know board members. You know, I can sit at their dinner table. I can't necessarily sit at the federal table. So that just shows how important it is to find out who you want and who you align with in your community and that you want to see as leadership in your community.
Okay. That's good. Well, folks, don't go anywhere. It's the Mike Brown Morning Show here on the Urban Uplift. We'll be right back.
Wake up. Right here.
The Mike Brown Morning Show.
Wake up, baby, don't you wake up? Hit it in the morning.
Heard weekdays 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Urban Uplift.